How can you double your sales just by using your sales funnel to make the right decisions? That's what we're going to talk about. Hey guys, Jonathan here, talking really to service-based businesses, people that do appointment-based sales, and that can be online, it can be in person, brick and mortar, but what we want to talk about today is how to use a funnel. Now, the best way to have this is to have some sort of software, something that tracks this, something that automates certain pieces. There's a lot of them out there nowadays, but it's really hard to do this if you don't have precise tracking. And so it's always better to have something to track and then to handle and manage communications. Fancy word for that's a CRM, but either way, we're going to go through the principles of this. It doesn't really matter whether or not it's tracked on a software or not. It needs to be tracked. And that's the first point of this, is a lot of people don't actually understand the concept of a sales funnel for a appointment-based business. And when I say appointment-based business, that means that in order to start with you, someone wants to talk to you, but what you charge is probably higher than what a lot of low-level competitors charge. It's going to require some iteration, meaning what that person wants and then how you provide that need. There's going to need to be a conversation that adjusts what you offer them. Good example of that would be like HVAC. There's different ways to solve the problem, and certain pieces have to be done, certain pieces are options. So there's an iterative process there. My background is in gyms, so this can be for gyms as well. And gyms, I'm talking about higher value gyms, so not $10 a month, not just open access, but higher value services, or online businesses. And the company I work with currently, we do coaching, consulting, and tech for gyms. So what we do, we help build this stuff for gyms, but these principles work for any type of service. It could be chiropractic, dentist, physical therapy, it could be any of the trades, any of that stuff. So here's the thing. When you have a funnel, the whole idea behind a sales funnel is that you've got a bunch of people that know about you, and then you've got people who don't know about you yet. And so the people that don't know about you yet, getting them to know about you, that's marketing, to see what you do, all that. But getting the people who know about you to start talking to you, that's lead generation. And that's when they enter the sales funnel, because they've now given you the information to talk to you. So they give you some form of contact information, phone, email, whatever. My thing is to do, it's gotta be a phone number that you can text. Like, to me, that, like, if you're talking to a person, like, you gotta be able to talk to them on their phone. So there's other people that say like a lead it can be like a social media profile or whatever. Like, that's true, but for an in-person or an online service-based business, normally that's gonna be a phone number, right? So now you have a lead. Most people, once they get leads, they're going to need to get a commitment to talk to them. So that's like, you get a lead and you pick up the phone, call as fast as you can, or you nurture them to book an appointment to sit down and talk with you, and then they show that appointment, and then they're sold, and then you hand them off into fulfillment. So that's like what this is tracking, right? So like a good software, what it'll show you is like how many leads, how many of those leads booked, how many of those bookings showed, and how many of those sold. And the best way would be that it does that automatically as you do certain actions. So like the software we use, whenever someone comes in as a lead, is if I book an appointment, it automatically moves their stage and it sends them notifications for the appointment. It sends them calendar invites, Zoom links, and all that stuff, right? So like the more that you can have systems that automatically update, the better, but it's also how you make decisions, okay? So when you look at lead all the way to sold, in most service businesses, a 30% conversion rate is what you're looking for from all traffic sources. So that would mean that's all the way through from lead to sold. So if you have 10 leads, you sell 3, okay? Some businesses do better than that. Some people do worse than that. But for the most part, that's a good number to shoot for if you're doing a combination of organic and paid marketing, okay? So how do you come up with that? Well, the way that would work is, say you have 10 leads. You want 50% of those to book. So if you have 10 leads, you want 5 to book. And of those that book, you want 80% to show. So that if 5 book, 4 show, it's 80%. And then if 4 show, you want to close 70 to 80%. So that's about 3. So that's 10 to 3, right? And so those are the standards. But here's where a lot of people are missing out on a lot of pieces. When a lot of people look at business growth, they look at the amount of people signing up and they think, oh, the only thing I can do is to get more leads. But in my experience, there's a lot of people that they simply are just not good at this process. So they're getting enough leads, but they're not converting enough. So let's say you got 100 leads. 30% conversion rate of 100 leads would be 30 people. Let's say you got 10. That means somewhere in this process between them, like a lead coming in, and then you booking them, and them showing up and them selling, we've had 20 people that we dropped out based on KPI. So we got to set those KPIs and track them. And I've got friends that own different types of businesses, and this number is like consistently the number that I see to shoot for, 30%. So how do you fix that conversion? Well, it depends on what stage the problem's at, right? So say you get 100 leads, but only 30 book. That means that you're having an issue getting them to commit to book, okay? But say you get 50 booking, but only 20 show, then that means there's some stuff going on that's not getting them to show up. And of course, if they show, but they don't close, then that's a problem with the actual sales appointment itself, okay? So when you see this, now you can actually go make a precise change into what you're doing. See, a lot of people, just like I said, the main solution that people have is like, oh, I only signed up 10 people this month out of my 100 leads. Well, I need to sign up 30, go get 200 more leads. But efficiency would say, if you have 100 leads, you can probably sign up 30 people just from those 100 leads without getting more. And so when you start to track this, now you can make more intelligent decisions about your efforts. So like, for example, my company right now, we want to grow. We're converting at 33, 34% or something like that on the year. So it's like, it's just a volume thing for us. We just need more. And so we're getting more precise about where those leads come from because we want to make sure they're, most likely good fits for us. That helps, right? To market to the right people, to know who you are marketing to. But like, unless we track the numbers, we don't know that that's the case, right? So like, if we were like, hey, we're only signing up, let's use the same example. Say we want to sign up 30 people, but we're signing up 10. But we got the 100 leads that can convert 30 people, then like, that's where we need to start really looking deeper into this process, which is what my role at the company that I work for. And so I actively do this. Like, this is what I do full time. It's what I manage. I owned a gym for almost 9 years. This was my job when I was there. And actually, I struggled a long time as a gym owner because I didn't understand this concept. Like, I didn't understand how to take this and make decisions. And so that's what we're going to talk about next. So let's say you got 100 leads, but you're only signing up 10 people. Well, let's look at some pieces here. Okay, so when you have a lead come into the system, what they're doing is they raise their hand, they said, hey, maybe you can help me with my problem, all right? Well, the only function of this step, okay, is to understand them, who they are, what they need, build a gap between where they are and where they need to be based on what they're doing, not doing, etc., and then ask for the appointment. So you're creating a scenario where they realize that they really need some help and that how you help is good, but you're not selling them on your product or service. You're just saying, hey, let me understand where you are and where you need to be. What are you doing? What's working? What's not working? How do you feel about that? What do you feel like you're missing? And then when they internally are like, yeah, I really think I need some help, then you ask for the appointment. That's all you're asking for. You're not giving them pricing. You're not giving them anything. You're just talking to them about what they need. And if they're talking about pricing, that's another skill we can talk about another day, but like, we need to get back to what are the results and what are they doing or not doing. That's the function. So like, if you have a lot of leads but you're not booking, it's probably because you're just like, well, hey, if you want to maybe feel like it, you can just try this out. Or you're trying to sell them on when they're just a lead all the way into the thing. And I'll tell you this right now, I've done sales calls where I've thought this person's already sold and I haven't closed them. And it's because everyone needs to go through the mechanics of understanding the prospect, letting them tell you what the gap is between where they are, where they're going to be, letting them express that they can't do it themselves. If you don't do those basics, there's no pressure for sales. So like, if you are not booking enough people, it's normally something like this. It's like you're not taking the time to understand them and build a gap, okay? It's the only job. So that would be something to focus on if you see that you're not booking 50% of your leads into appointments, okay? Now, book to showed, all right? So let's say, again, 100 leads, 50 are booking, but only 25 are showing, okay? So that's a 50% show rate. We want 80%. We'd rather have 40 people show. So when it comes to booking, right, one thing to remember about people is, especially if you're working business to, it's business to business or it's business to customer. It works in my gym, it works for the business I work now. People got a lot of stuff going on, man. And so like, whenever like you are booking an appointment, you're asking them to commit time. But at the end of the day, when that person is committing to that time, like you can ask them all they want, like, can you commit this time? Like, do you have this time blocked off? That's cool, but we need to remind them and build excitement and then make sure we confirm. Because what will happen is people will have stuff come up. Most of the time, people, especially in a business scenario, even in business to customer, like the reason people aren't getting their current results is they're not as diligent with their time as they need to be, right? So it's no surprise that the likely scenario of someone who's unreminded and not excited, they're not going to show, right? So when people are in the book stage, we just need to remind them of the appointment. We need to build excitement, so have things that trigger excitement. So like, for example, 24 hours ahead of time, we send out this automated picture of like our founder, his wife, and their baby, a little AI picture with their name on it, little stuff like that to make it personal. That shows that we're excited, like, hey, you're meeting with a real person, like this is a real company, we want to help you, we understand, right? And then confirm. And so this is the big one. So recently we struggled with show rate, and I started calling confirming. And it's funny, like this week, I'm making this video right now. I just had a call not show, and he was the one person that I did not get a confirmation from this week. And so, like, that's what happens, right? Is like if we don't do these mechanics of remind, build excitement, confirm, they're less likely to do it. So a couple of principles: never book more than 3 days ahead of time. If you have to do it more than 3 days ahead of time, you're going to make sure you confirm more often ahead of time. But like for anyone who books, 3 or so days ahead of time, you always call confirm the day before. And again, make sure there's automation reminders always asking for a decision. So it's like, hey, 24-hour reminder, hey, we reserved the spot out for you. Please respond yes to keep your appointment. You want to get ahead of that stuff all the time. Like I have an appointment today that I didn't know until this morning that they were going to be canceled, that was going to be canceled, but I had someone waiting from yesterday for a Friday slot, and I was like, hey, I'm busy. Well, this morning I get a reschedule, so it's like, I wish I would have known that yesterday, you know what I'm saying? But that happens. But there are times where that one was like, hey, that just happened. But there's times where if you don't do the confirmation work, you're not going to know. So you want to make sure you're confirming ahead of time. All right, so now, as you start to do those things, your booking to show will go up. So your show rate will increase because you're more touch, more excitement, all that stuff. Now, show to sold. All right, I only have one thing on here. One opportunity energy. All right, so this is, to me, the biggest difference between someone who does sales and someone who is a sales professional, okay? Hold on, let me take a sip of my coffee. Coffee's for closers. When you show up to a sales appointment, in person, on Zoom, whatever, and you are allowing yourself to walk into it thinking that follow-up is an option, your close rate will not be as high as it could because you're not showing up with one opportunity energy. One opportunity energy is like, hey, this is my one chance. Like, this is my one time that I get to sit down with this person and really actually figure out this thing and then get a decision. So one opportunity energy is choosing that when you are doing this, that you're going to not only commit your best, but you're also, you realize that when it comes to people, like human behavior, we're really good at kicking stuff back, pushing stuff off, all of that stuff. And if you really believe in what you do, like I really believed in my gym, I really believed in the company I work with now because they helped me turn my gym around. And so it's like, hey, if you are going to really help someone, most people are indecisive. They're not closers in their life. So the best thing you can do is show up with one opportunity energy and close it down, because you're going to ask them to make a decision. But the only way you do that is if you show up being a decisive person who is in your mind determined that, hey, we're going to make a decision today. This is not going to be something we're going to punt to next week, okay? I'm always surprised at how some people respond whenever on a call. We make a unique offer for the call when I do my current sales calls. And when I offer it, people are always like, well, I wasn't expecting to make a decision. I was like, okay, that's cool. But hey, I understand human behavior. And at the end of the day, we just punt this stuff down the road. So I'm just asking to respect your time and mine. What do you guys want to do? And you'd be amazed how many times when you have that conversation and you get up front with people, all of a sudden, not only are they more decisive, but once they get started, they take a lot of action. And then that, isn't that what you want? When you are trying to get someone to change their current situation, isn't that something that you want? Something that you want to see happen, them get the results that you're talking about. And so you get to be the first person who gets to help with that, right? And so you show up with one opportunity energy, man. This is the one time. This is the one chance that you got, which goes into these next two pieces, which is when you are in, so closing is a lot more about energy. There is structure, like you got to have a little bit of structure, but it's more about the energy transfer. Like people buy you, not your product. So like if you show up and you're just casual and you're not like actually genuinely showing that you care and genuinely willing to walk through the processes of change with them, probably not going to close. So one opportunity, energy. Now, here's the biggest pitfall of a growing business or a business that's struggling to grow is when you are in the sales process, you also want to have time once you've closed it up. Closing is not just getting money, that's part of it, but also you're transitioning into next steps and handing off to fulfillment. So like your job is to make sure that, okay, this person just signed up. How can I set them up for success so that they can take these first couple steps and pass off information to the fulfillment team so that that handoff is extremely smooth. Those are the things that help you grow a business, right? And it's also that mentality, the one opportunity energy of also I'm the first fulfiller, that's going to make you more engaged with these people, help them know that they make a better decision. And guess what? They're going to have a better opinion of you. Like they're going to have good things to say about you. It makes you feel better as a person because you took care of them. That's what you did. And that's going to reaffirm how you show up for your appointment. So how you treat anyone is how you treat everyone. So when you are working through this sales funnel, right? So say you own a business or say you are a salesperson or whatever, like these pieces, there's mechanics to them, but ultimately like this is an attitude. Like the attitude is I'm helping these people move through certain stages, right? And you don't want to skip stages even if internally you feel like you can't. So like I've gotten into a lot of trouble doing that before where I'm like, hey, if I do this, like I hear someone, like I actually have a message from someone right now. I talked to her on the phone yesterday, and basically she's like, I'm already sold, but we need to talk to my business partner. And my message was, that's cool, but we still got some stuff we got to go over just to make sure that it's a good fit anyways. And the reason I said that is because we still need to go through the mechanics. Like I want them to be excited. I'm like, hey, that's cool, like that's awesome. But just because someone says that in their current emotional state doesn't mean that when they're faced with a decision, that's what they're going to make. So we still walk them through the process. So when we talk about doubling your sales using the sales funnel, like normally, like I said, there's pieces falling through the cracks, but what will change your outcome is a lot of people, man, I sit down with them and I'm like, what are you converting? They're like, 18%. And I'm like, well, how can we get you to 30%? And a lot of people, again, their solution is leads. But when I start digging in, like I have a friend right now, he has a physical therapy business, and his issue is they have all these leads that booked but never showed. And so like all we did, in 2 weeks, we just set process and we just identified how to attack that. And he's already gotten more bookings out of it. Just people that have already been in the system. They're not new people, anything. It's just because we set standards, right? But it was because we started doing this stuff over here too, like saying, hey, these people, they never got touched like this, let's do it like this, and all of a sudden he's getting better results, right? And he hasn't had to increase any leads. Now, he does want to keep doing that. I'm not saying don't do that, but like if you're being inefficient with leads, you're being really inefficient with opportunity. Because if you're only getting 10 people out of 100 leads, and then you go through 2 months of that, right? So say you get 100 leads this month, 100 leads next month. You should be getting 30 and you're getting 10. That means in 2 months, that's 40 people you have not been able to convert. That's huge for a service-based business, right? So like some people just need to stop and figure out where the holes are in this. And sometimes it's just starting to track it. But the other piece, once you start tracking it, where are the holes and what can you do? So that's how you can double your sales using the sales funnel to make the right decisions. So many people just need to stop and look at this and intelligently say, hey, this is not converting very well from this stage to this stage, and then attack that one. And then that one will put pressure on where there might be another problem. And that's all you need to do. Like it's literally picking the one that's the weak link and then attacking. So like I said, my friends is booked to showed. We attack that link, probably gonna see an increase. It'll put pressure on another one, right? But that's how you build sales process and you improve it, okay? It's very simple, but like sometimes you just need to see it. So that's my goal here. Appreciate you guys as always. There's always a link down in the calendar if you want to just hop on a call with me. Big Little Gyms if you're a gym owner, but like if you just, even if you are a gym owner, you just want to talk sales process, you just book a connect call with me, 30 minutes, no cost. Awesome guys. See you later.